Já také děkuji a jako další příspěvek pro naši příspěvek bych rád pozval zástupce Portugalska, soudce Soudu pro rodinné záležitosti a mladistvé ve městě Barreiro, pana António José Fialho, který si připravil příspěvek samozřejmě ze své země a navíc jej doprovodí i PowerPointovou prezentací.
Good afternoon. I will speak with you in bad English. I'm very sorry, but I expect that the translator will translate my bad English for your language much better than I speak English, because it's not my original language. I would like to show my gratitude for the gentle invitation to the Department of Social Affairs from the City Hall of Prague, and especially for Mr. Lubos Padera for the organization of the possibility of being here to speak about the situation in Portugal, about children and parents in diverse contexts in Portugal. This is the court where I work. Is a family and juvenile court, a very recent building. In this building, we don't have only the family and juvenile court, but also the civil court, the criminal court, and the labor court, with good conditions of work, because it's a very recent court, and to understand how we work. It's a specialized court. It was created in 50 September 1999. In that court we work two judges, two public prosecutors. The public prosecutors has a very important role in family matters and especially in children matters. 7 executive officers in the court office and 2 executive officers in the public prosecution office. We have a population of more or less 208,000 inhabitants in an area of, as you can see, and pending cases 1,030. Lots of pending cases of parental responsibilities and 147 pending cases of contentious divorce. Why this difference? The divorce by mutual consent is no longer competence of the courts, but the register office. In 208, and 2 years ago, more or less, a new law has defined the concept of parental responsibility. We abandoned the term parental authority to parental responsibility. This is the meaning of parental responsibility. Duties and rights to take care of the child's person and property, a collection of duties and powers which aim to ensure the moral and material welfare of the child, by taking care of the person of the child, maintaining personal relationships with, and by providing for his education, convenience, legal representation, and the administration of his property. We have also, in family matters, three important principles in our Constitution. Equality between parents as regards the maintenance and the education for their children, awarding parents the right and duty to educate and maintain their children, and the child cannot be separate from their parents except when they don't comply with their fundamental duties towards their children, and only by our decision and the due process of law. This law creates different meanings for these three things. We have different meaning from physical custody to exercise of parental responsibility. There are different things. But exercise of parental responsibility sometimes is called as legal custody. And as you know, and as you can see, physical custody can be different from legal custody. By this law, the number of the law is in the presentation. The exercise of parental responsibility does not differ according to the relations between parents, whenever they were married and married or they didn't live together. In case of divorce or split up, parental responsibilities are exercised jointly by both parents. This is one of the news of this law. Only the court, based on the interests of the child, may decide that one of the parents will exercise single-parent responsibilities. Some cases are in this matter, for instance, in cases of absence of one of the parents or in cases of domestic violence. This law adopted some of the principles of European family law regarding divorce and maintaining between former spouses. You can know these principles in that site of internet. Adopted also the concept of parental responsibilities from the recommendation number R84. Number 4 from the Council of Europe, imposes upon parents a positive duty to respect their children and establishes the court and registry office obligation to inform parents about the existence of mediation before a divorce or separation proceedings. In case of divorce and separation, the court shall then determine the residence of the child and the visiting rights in accordance with his interest, taking into account all relevant circumstances, namely the eventual agreement between the parents and the value of each one of them to promote habitual relations of the child with the other. Therefore, the court will always decide in harmony with the interest of the child, including the one of maintaining a close relationship with both parents, encouraging and accepting agreements or making decisions that promote extensive opportunities of contact with both and sharing responsibilities between them. This is really the new statement of this law. In the divorce and parental responsibility proceedings, there is always an attempt to reconciliation presided by the judge, In divorce proceedings by mutual consent, the civil register approves the agreement after an opinion from the public prosecutor in family court concerning to parental responsibilities. At any stage of proceeding, the judge may suggest or order participation by public or private mediation services. When parental responsibility is exercised jointly, law expressly requires the consent of both parents regarding to acts or issues of particular importance. In the absence of agreement between parents, the court must decide on this after an attempt to reconciliation and after hearing the point of views of the child, unless it's unadvisable. We don't have in the Portuguese law a definition of acts or issues of particular importance, but the courts has created some of these cases like this one. The name of the child is religious education, the permission to get married only if 16 years old, disposal of property, rejection of inheritance, contracting of loans and acquisition of positions in commercial companies, critical medical treatments, and living in foreign countries. This is some of, there are others, but this is the most important, some of the issues of particular importance in the life of the child. These proceedings are based in voluntary jurisdictions, which the court may freely investigate facts, collect evidence, order inquiries, and gather information regarded as appropriate. The court is not subject to criteria of strict legality, but in each case must adopt the solution which seems most appropriate. These decisions can be changed without prejudice to the effects already produced on the basis of supervening circumstances which justify the change. At any stage of the proceeding, and whenever it's considered appropriate, the court may provisionally decide on those matters which must ultimately be resolved, and also order urgent steps which are essential to ensure the effective enforcement of the decision. At any stage of the proceeding, the judge can appoint or request technical advisors to assist to inquiries, provide elucidations, make examinations, or prepare advices. This is one of the problems in Portugal because the financial and economical crisis, the problems of the public budgets has reduced the number of technicians and counselors to the courts, and it's very difficult to implement this part of proceedings. The parents or the public prosecutor may still meet an appeal. Since 2007, we have a program in courts, in all courts, not only in family and juvenile courts. It's called Sitius, from the Latin quicker. It's a way to, an electronic way to work in court documents. It provides the judge to draft and sign the decisions electronically without the need of using paper. Provides to receive and to send cases electronically between the judge and the court office, and between these and lawyers and other public services, without the need of circulating the case on paper. Provides to immediately know each case, and are allocated to them, and at which phase they are at. It provides to the parents between his lawyers to know how his case are going. The electronic system is more or less like this. This is the form of working, and this is the program to work with the cases in family and other courts. And this is the way the judge can write his sentence or his decision that he makes. The decision is available to lawyers almost immediately. Portugal has been sentenced by the European Court of Human Rights several times because of the problems of enforcing decisions. We have two cases very known, Ricardo Ramos versus Portugal and Mayor versus Portugal concerning to the visiting rights. Because of that, this law enforces this problem in order to solve this problem. If one of the parents does not comply with what has been agreed or decided, the other may ask the court to take the necessary steps to enforce compliance. After an application has been made, the judge will invite the parents to a meeting or will order the respondent to be notified. After the meeting, parents may agree to alteration of the arrangement for the exercise of parental responsibility. When the parents cannot agree during the meeting, judge will order a brief investigation to be carried out and take a decision. In the basis of parental responsibility, parents must feed, educate and maintain their children. The slide is very clear. I only want to say that it can be, if maintenance payments are in arrears, it's possible to take a court action, and this enforcement will take an assignment of earnings mostly. Since 2000, Portugal has a public fund available if a maintenance creditor fails to pay and it's not possible to take an assignment of earnings or goods. This public fund supports the maintenance payment, and as soon as possible it will try to recover the money from the debtor parent. I would like to speak a little about a problem in Portugal. It's called parental alienation. The psychologists and psychiatrists don't like the term syndrome, but we are speaking about parental alienation, not using the word syndrome. As you know, in the context of a divorce, the non-custodial parent has the right to relate and spend time with the child, not only through occasional contacts, but also by providing accommodation for the child for short periods of time and by corresponding with him or her. The court must take the necessary steps to enforce compliance, including civil and criminal responsibility. In Portugal, we have now also criminal responsibility. Parental alienation emerged during divorce and involved the active alienation of the child from one parent by the other parent. In order to prevent parental alienation Portuguese courts begin to recognize the symptoms. What are the court actions before parental alienation? Must confront alienation where it's found and ensure treatment begins, initiate preventive measures and educate persons about the symptoms and causes of alienation. By recognizing early the symptoms and help educate parents and attorneys, identify high-risk cases, intervene quickly. Quick intervention is very important. Don't let attorneys use delayed tactics like continuances, especially in cases with high risk for alienation. Order parents into therapy, family systems and cognitive behavior. Order a guardian ad litem to monitor compliance and report to the court. Don't withhold visits unless there is a question about the child's safety. Give parents an opportunity to speak before the court. Order therapy for the child if they generally or functioning deteriorates. This is very important, the quick intervention. We have in the Portuguese law an obligation to this attempt to reconciliation must be made in 15 days. It's not possible to respect this obligation from the law because we have lots of cases. But in my country, we are trying to solve it in 1 or 2 months. Sometimes it's not possible because the problems of, as I told you, the problems of the council services belongs to the Department of Social Affairs. It's a central department that works with the court to make to help in the evaluation of the situation. But those works, those inquiries, very long time, and it's very difficult about that. Because my final message to you, and once again I apologize for my bad English, my final message to you is that when parents divorce or split up, their child continues to need the father and the mother as well, and their relationships must be separated from parents' conflict. After all, divorce hasn't been like this. Thank you for your kind attention.